Hello everyone and welcome back to Birthday's the Beginning. Fraz here as always, and well, it's going to be a little bit of a different way that this game is done. Now I recorded this and my mic'd audio did not record back on this, so unfortunately there's a little bit of post-com because a lot actually happens in this episode. I'd like to just talk you through what I've generally done with the idea and the plans and everything, because it's a fairly lengthy thing I've done. And unfortunately, technology likes to have a little bit of keeping us on our toes at times. So basically I'm trying to, at this point, figure out what to really kind of go with, like areas to try and get the Colonia to go up a little bit. But unfortunately, the Colonia, I think, actually ends up dying out and reappearing about 20 times during this episode, which is kind of insane. Right now our temperature is decreasing to 31 degrees and we want to kind of put it up a little bit. I also want to make sure there's more of a sort of sea level around, so I create this little area just in the midst of everything and bring everything down. Also later on in the episode I do actually go ahead and create a big sea, deep sea bed area, which has a huge amount of benefits for our actual creatures that start to flourish in the world, and you'll see that later on. But right now it's just a case of going along, just kind of taking it down, seeing if I'm happy about it. You notice like there's a lot of sort of algae in our level, which is good for our water, because that gives obviously the creatures below us and all that, the plankton and everything will grow and flourish a bit. Because I think the trilobites, whatever they're called, those things you see there where my character is quite next to, those actually, they start to hit like 200k or that, and it's like, there's quite a lot. But yeah, that area that we just flew over there is the area where we tend to put the seabed. We kind of come out though just to see if we can try and rescue the Colonia a little bit, but fortunately, as you see, things it's on the verge of extinction. But there is things that happen that we do in this episode that actually, there's almost mutations, evolutions of those things. Like they die out, but something kind of takes their place. Not of the Colonia, but there's like derivatives that we have. We start to obviously experiment a little bit with some seed of evolution, or seed of mutation I should say, and see what happens. But we try and create a little bit more land, because obviously the more water there is, the sort of higher the temperature will be. And we kind of have to keep it around. Right now we're down at 31, which ideally is not really that great for particular ones that we want to grow in water anyway. I also discovered that actually lowering some water, when you're doing some more like tweaks and everything here and there, it actually does have an effect on the temperature, which is kind of cool. But I really like what we kind of start to form. We also do some land sculpting about halfway through this episode, so that's something to look forward to. There we go. Where are we going? I'm going up here. I was trying to decide what to do with this point, but I end up just basically like, let's just make a nice new shallow area. Because we want to obviously give more area for the plankton and the trilobites and everything to grow, because the more they have, because they're like basically bottom of the bottom, if they die out, from what I can understand, if they die out, we end up like pretty much your entire food chain will potentially crash in some form. Obviously, land creatures are going to be starting to appear eventually. Unfortunately, we get a few land like life forms, but we don't get any sort of moving creatures on the land. But you would be happy to know we do get ones in the sea. You'll soon see them in a few moments, actually. So yeah, basically I just kind of want to go around and I'm tweaking it up a little bit. Obviously this area over here is doing its own thing, and I really like how it looks. Like, it's obviously some people are kind of comparing this a bit to sort of Minecraft in a way, and how it's sculpting, because everything's cube-like. I think it's even better than that. I think because the way you have, like, obviously it's quite cube-like. You can have it, you can kind of tweak it, and it gives you like a time to sort of tweak and adjust and make island sort of thing. Like I start to put here, like creating a nice little sort of basin here that, you know, creatures will be able to flourish in. Of course, sometimes it's just a thing of waiting with this game. You kind of just come out and just see what the changes you've done have an effect, positive, negative. And I really like that, because it's something, it's like, it is pretty much a game to experiment with. And of course, you guys will probably, you may be picking up, because it is released very, very soon, or probably by the time you see this video, on Steam and on PS4. And as you can see here, I just create like little detailed areas that just, you know, just to make things look different rather than just a flat plane. And of course, we start to like see, because obviously as you the zooplankton, it's kind of like usually taps out around about 500k. Our bottom of the food chain is like pretty much it will hit 4 million during this, but the Colonia, unfortunately, I do think actually dies out at this point. It comes back at one point again, and then dies out again. It's just like, right, because the temperature's there, and then it dies out, then it doesn't die out, and of course we get some items in the game, which is always fantastic to do. Let's just jump over here. So let's see what we're going to get up to now. So basically, I think at this point is when I start to think, right, what I'm going to do is just put down a huge amount of new, like, sea area. Not thinking, you know, to start right at the edge, because then I have to go along and do the side bits. But as you see, the temperature is rising now within our world. And round about this area here is where I actually put really deep sea. And you'll see that it actually, and that is such a weird way to say this word sea, but you'll soon see that it has a very, very, very positive effect on our actual ecosystem. That it starts to actually have some proper sea life forms that pop in and, well, thrive. They don't thrive at first because we make some alterations as well, but they do start to thrive eventually. And it's evolutions and derivatives of, obviously, some life forms we've had previously. So you'll soon get to see them in a little bit. Because I pretty much think that we put this out and then we create like a massive seabed, because we just have it going down from the shallows to the deeper shallows and then to the sea to the deep sea. And it's just it's a way to obviously entice life in a way that it will actually, you know, grow out, and it creates that almost food-like chain all the way down. But it's not like we give it sort of tiny areas, we give it a good span of areas. So there's a good bit, and pretty much I'm mostly halfway up on this map. I've been thinking of basically it'll just be like, that'll be the edge, that'll be the deep sea area where all these sort of bigger creatures from underneath the sea are going to be coming from. Because obviously, ideally, you want to head for dinosaurs eventually, and then you get creatures and ducks and wolves, and eventually the end goal is to have the sort of smart technology-based human, I think it is. And you have to get humans to actually appear, you have to give the fruit of knowledge to a human. Accidentally give it to a leaf thing in this, but another one pops up in the world, so that's okay. So don't shout at me when that pops along. But yeah, this ideally was to, like I said, introduce new life, but we unfortunately run out a little bit of life there, so we can use a small recover leaves, because I start to use them a bit more so we can remain in the world more until we'd actually finished with what we want to do, rather than jumping out the world to come back down and do the thing. So I really like, reason obviously I'm doing this in post-coms, because I could pretend, the save was saved over, and that's when I realised, I was like, oh, that's kind of, you know, saved over, and my audio software crashed, unfortunately. So I hope you guys don't mind that, because I think there's a lot that happens in this episode that you know, changes our ecosystem in a big way, and allows us to start to adapt life and everything. Now we do get a little bit of because you have to sort of have moisture. And we do get a little bit, but it comes and goes quite a lot when we build up some land. And there was some green land that appeared, and then it disappears again. So it's one of those things, it's like, it is very, very much hit and miss. And I think very much some people will be having, you know, crazy water wells only, maybe. And I'm aiming for kind of, you know, a bit of both. But life does start in the sea, as you would see. So we just have to kind of do our own thing. And we grow out from that. Let's see, I think we... Oh, no, we're out of there. So we scoot out just now, because obviously we built a chunk there, just to try and see what things are going to do. I pretty much think the Colonia goes extinct right now, if I mind right. Yes, no, maybe? No, not quite yet. We also do get, I think we get 3 or 4 new life forms in this, but I don't think it actually gives us a level up, which is a little bit of a pain, but oh well. It happens, it happens. There we go. We'll just pop that down, and then we just come up here, just to make our way down, because we're just... It's like that stage where I'm just like, right, what do I want to kind of do next? And I think I take this down a little bit, just to create some more sort of actual shallow lands for creatures and everything going on. Because obviously, I'm experimenting with the game, I'm learning with the game as well, and if you guys want to see something, or if you know any hints or tips, and it's just kind of one of those things, it's like, what's this going to do, what's that going to do, and because a lot of the creatures, it does kind of tell you, that, like, basically, you know, at this ideal temperature, blah, 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 blah. But there's a lot of other variables that are included that allows you to, you have to take into, I don't know what I was doing there. You have to take into fact and allow you to then create life and have it evolve, basically. There we go. So we do a little bit of sculpting here, if I mind right, just to try and make things go with. I think at one point, I don't know if it was this episode or the previous episode, where I actually end up just going really far into the crust. Right, really deep, because you actually have deep sea and then, like, pretty much deep sea. And it, well, I don't even know if it was this one or not. We'll probably see, because I can't quite remember everything that happens this. I just know there was multiple new life forms, and we tend to focus on doing a huge, big, deep sea bed, which is what we're going to be doing around about now, I think, if I mind right. There we go, yep. Because as you can see, that takes it down to -2 shallows. So basically I end up having it go -2, -3, sea, deep sea. And it actually brings in quite a few new life forms. And our other creatures, as you see, because obviously on the mini-map you've got all that at the left-hand side, it starts to kind of grow across because it's got more areas to go on. And it becomes kind of pretty cool. Like, there's a lot of life, and you'll see that the Stromolites actually get up to about 200,000, which is a huge advantage for us in regards to food-wise. So I think, if I mind, yeah, there we go, the Codium Fragile has spawned, and I believe that is actually, because I just noticed it happened pretty much around with the Clunia. So we'll head over and we'll have a wee look at it. There it's there. Oh, wrong key, of course, and plump. There we go. So we captured that, so we can see here. So seaweed that is adapted to life in warm seawater has replaced the Clunia. So that is like the evolutionary state of the Clunia. So something is adapted to what has went on in the world. The Clunia died out, but something replaced it because it evolved, which is kind of cool. I really, really like that. So it's like things can, and as you see, will go extinct, but something 9 times out of 10 will replace it because something has become used to the environment that's happened. And you notice the Codium Fragile actually increases quite a lot. So that means it's adapted to the world that we've created and it's thriving. And well, we get a lot of items as well, because like, we start using like the Seed of Mutation quite a bit, just to try and see what pops out, really. Because you notice the Codium Fragile is actually quite a bit up. I think I accidentally actually clicked there when I wanted to use the Seed of Mutation. This is one of the times I actually use it. And we get a few things out of it, and we use one on that as well. And now I think this is where some land things come in, but it doesn't last yet. There we go. It doesn't last too long, unfortunately, so that's a little bit of a spoiler, but apologies guys. But we do have a land-based thing, and it does come and go in this game, but the thing is there's not enough moisture to keep it alive. So that's a little bit of a problem. There we go. This little guy. You probably noticed it looks very similar to something in the water that we just looked at, but it's purple. So it does have a birth temperature and adaptation temperature, and basically height has got to be on land. And it does okay, but it ends up just dying out. And of course, we've got a couple of more there, and got another couple of items, which is always good. Seed of Mutation is just good because you just use it on anything and see what comes from it, which is cool. So we use one on that, and I don't think that actually gets to do anything, because I think it actually dies out before it actually can do anything. But we end up having, you know, started sculpting a little bit of land here. There we go. And I just get like a little bit of creativity because, you know, that's what this game also is kind of focused on. You know, do some things and have a little bit of fun and see what happens. And don't think it's at this stage I notice anything, but I don't think we actually find out about the moisture in the water, because when we raise things out, it actually turns green, but then it disappears quite quickly, which is a little bit of a shame. Because if we had that, that would effectively help us out a hell of a lot. But we do have the Colonial Petrus. So we are fast forwarding time a little bit, but you notice the Colonial Petrus went up and now it's like falling down. Codium Fragile though is doing well. Stromatolites are doing well. The plankton, everything else has got the perfect temperature going on. But we do get quite a lot of items at times, and to be honest, the game seems to cough out quite a bit of seed of mutation, which is never a bad thing, because that allows you to get these sort of derivative forms and everything of all the types of creatures and, well, life forms. So obviously this has got the rarity and everything. Seaweed, it's spread it to the dry land, and when the primal stuff, everything kind of dies out. The only thing is, it dies out as well. It comes back a few times though. I think it comes back a few times because I mutate the Codium Fragile again, and it does its own thing, but there we go. So obviously we will, because like some people I know that actually have been able to create almost like different worlds by using the sort of sunstones and cold stones, or heat stones and cold stones, in different areas of the map, and they create like a different ecosystem in each bit. Obviously we have a normal map, and we probably could do that at some point, have like maybe the top bit and the bottom bit are completely different from each other, something like that. Obviously the large and huge map are going to be like something you'd be able to do that without having anything against that. Also, you notice the Colonial Petrus has died out again, but the Codium Fragile is almost 200,000. It keeps climbing that, and I believe they're maybe feeding off. I'm not entirely sure, but Stromatolite kind of fluctuates around about 207,000 all the time. But we head in because there's actually quite a few items to pick up, which I believe most of them are actually either leaf recoveries or mutations. And we just kind of... I like how this part, you can actually just run over them and then grab them and then go do your own thing. But I think we end up heading and doing a focus on the actual seabed momentarily. So we are quite a little bit into the video so far. Because I'm also at this point, I'm just like, right, what do I want to do? What do I want to push towards and everything? Obviously more shallows and everything, and that is going to give us time to obviously allow Stromatolites and everything to grow out a little bit more, and you can never have too many of them. Trust me. Trust me on that point. So it's kind of the point of making sure that they also have the right temperature. As you know, our world is growing in temperature a little bit, and I thought, right, what we'll do is maybe top out a little bit, because obviously the more land you add, the cooler it gets. We do, I think, end up with about 20% of seawater and 80% land. I started sort of experimenting with rain clouds, see if they, you know, would add actual moisture to the land, because we want to head to getting rivers and stuff, because that will allow us to get the on-land creatures, and everything will start to flourish. But unfortunately, that one doesn't work and everything. You'll need to wait and see if there's any more. We are almost approaching 1,000,000 years in our cube world, and, well, again, life takes its time. So obviously we can jump in here, but life does take its time. We have quite a few items to pick up. You can see down in the bottom right of our little mini-map that the creatures have started sort of evolving and moving along a little bit by bit by bit. And I think because it's got them there, yep, there's a few of them here, which is cool. It's nice to see that always happening. I think we do use a seed of mutation. Yep, we do. And of course that gives us the purple one back on land, but again it dies out because it's got nowhere to properly grow. And it's just very much a case of trial and error in this game. You know, there is going to be a wiki, and the wiki last I checked was quite bare at the time. And there you go, it's back again, it's up at the top. But of course, it will end up dying. It ends up dying, I think, again. But it's nice to see, you know, like it does come back. We do use a rain cloud on it, see if it creates a little bit of moisture, because I believe that's what it does. Don't know if we use the other ones. Do we use the other ones? Yep, we do. But unfortunately, that doesn't really help. I don't think it does. So right now we're just kind of like looking at things and spinning along. I think the normal map is almost like perfect for things, because obviously like people who are going to experiment and do hour-long videos and everything for like the huge map and create insane worlds, or streaming, that would probably be good for streaming. The normal map is kind of like the perfect size for, well, doing your own thing, especially for videos as well, because you guys seem to be quite enjoying it and putting pretty fantastic comments, I might say. So please do, you know, let me know what you want to see more in this sort of series. Let me know what you want me to try or build something. You know, try building some particular structure that you might want me to do. But you notice the Codium Fragile is literally flourishing amazingly. And I think if it flourishes a little bit more, we end up with some new creatures because of it. But we want to jump in here right now. There's a bunch of items, a huge amount of items. So like I said, you can actually zoom right over them. And then they'll all just kind of catch up with you. And then you wait for it to come along the bottom and see what it got. But yeah, life is actually flourishing and moving along here, which is excellent. Which is what we want to see. But I think what we end up doing, we end up actually putting this down, because obviously we want to create like a big sea-like area. And once we do actually put this down, we end up just putting the deep sea area, because obviously that's raising the temperature a little bit. I found it round about 35, 36 degrees is where things tend to flourish somewhat the most. But it's one of those sort of very trial and error things of like, because some things are going to need cooler lands, some places are going to need warmer lands. Most of the things in the water seem to prefer heat at the moment, because obviously we haven't discovered bigger creatures which might not need as much heat. Maybe. I don't know if that's the way it works. We will see. But I find that the Birthdays of the Beginning is actually quite a cool educational thing for people as well, because it does kind of take in quite well actual evolution and how things, you know, come about, because it's not going to happen overnight thing. Evolution is a thing that happens quite, you know, over millions of years. But this is the point that I think we take it down. I don't know if we take it, maybe take it down further. I'm not entirely sure. So we'll see how far we actually take this down, because I'm sure take it down slightly further. Yeah, I figured that. That's what I've done. Use the small recover leaf. There we go. But yeah, we end up taking it down a bit further, because then we create this sort of a stepping stone-like condition, and it actually fares damn well. But we end up, I don't know what level we take this to again. Is it -10, I think? Because we keep it away from the... We actually put it down to the deep sea level, because we want that area genuinely to be, and probably more, maybe about a third of the way up, is going to actually be deep sea. Because we actually only make it, I think, because obviously that's like a 3x3. I think we make it about 6 wide of the deep sea sort of thing. So we'll probably have that go a bit up, and then that means obviously there's things that will only grow and live in the deep sea. And of course we can like use the camera and go down and visit them and see what happens. But yeah, definitely that's what I found, because obviously you want to focus on that, and we do actually start to get some pretty cool life forms. And not too long from this. Love how your avatar is just like, nope, I don't want to do that. It's like, nope, not doing it. Don't want to do it. I've just thought, I've had enough. I've had enough. Right, there we go. Let's get this down as well. So, yeah, ideally it's like we end up bringing this down as well. And definitely having it as sort of a step-by-step motion, which I'm totally happy with. I think, actually, no. I take that back. We end up making it a sort of a 9 across, I think that is. And using a lot of recovery leaves in this stage, so... But we do get quite a bit along, and... I mean, Birthdays of the Beginning is one of those games, it's like a lot of people are going to be recording and editing it quite differently. I obviously didn't want to leave this episode a chance, because, like I said, there's a lot that we change physically in our world, and there's a lot of creatures that happen. And because we're kind of starting out and everything, but some people are like, you know, they'll edit it together and they're like way off in the evolution chain, but some people might be like, how does that work? And of course that is one thing, you know, you're going to find channels that do things differently. But at this point we just put it down to sort of the sea level, not the deep sea, but it means like it's almost like a stepping stone, because it's going to be that some creatures will feed off the things that are in the sort of shallows, then there's creatures that feed off the things that are in the sea, from the deep sea, and vice versa. So it is one of those things where, you know, you have to give the right conditions and life will flourish. And it does definitely start to flourish pretty damn fantastically in this. And I couldn't be happier with what we actually turn out to do in this, because when we get to the next episode, we will hopefully have some land stuff, because I believe that our planet, or cube I should say, will actually be in a good way. As you notice, our temperature is rising about 35 degrees because of what we're actually doing to the world. As you notice, obviously, the further down you go in the deep sea, the cooler it gets. So obviously things will adapt to that, and that's what I like about this game, because things won't completely die out. Well, they could if you cause mass extinction, but you could probably go in and do some changes to the world, and that'll allow life to kind of come back, so it's never like a be-all and end-all type thing. But it just really depends what you get up to. And of course, you guys will be able to probably play this soon, or probably already be playing it, depending on when it's launching for you guys, because I believe it's the 9th/the 12th, depending on what region you're in. There we go, we get a little bit more down. I think we take this down as well. I thought we put it the wrong way. It's always one thing, I always hit the wrong shoulder button when I'm trying to do some stuff, but we get this going on and we come out, because obviously you can see that there, and I do believe you can actually take it really, really deep in there. But we just like fast forward the time, see what things happen. Not sure if it happens yet. So I'm kind of hinting towards there's actually, there we go. There we go. We have a new creature and it lives in the deep sea. Or the sea. One of the two. Basically, it's a little jellyfish dude. Look at him. Look at him. Kind of floating around there, minding his own business. And of course we're going to capture him as well. Although it helps if I don't press the wrong keys. There we go. So we get a little bit of, obviously, information. So it is jellyfish that live in warm seas, known as Corium fragile. They appear to have taken the place of Cyclomedusa. So that's like the natural evolution of the Cyclomedusa, because that kind of died out, couldn't adapt to the world. But they actually do, and we give them a little bit more area. They actually start to flourish a lot. So having a wee look at it, obviously, see the height, what they require, the birth temperature, and what they adapt to, and what they can keep alive in. But we end up, I think, around about here, we just kind of just take it out a little bit, because we want to make sure that they have enough sort of room to flourish and everything, and they definitely do. That is one thing, because that's like our, how should I say, first sort of proper life form that actually starts to flourish, because obviously we had the Cyclomedusa, but that kind of died out quite quickly, in fact, as well. But that one actually starts to flourish, because there's usually, I think by the end of this episode, we have a good, like, 10, 20,000 odd. Which is fantastic, because I've noticed with Birthdays at the beginning, it's usually every sort of 10,000 that adds, like, a unit, or, like, a model in. Because obviously we've got 200,000 Stromolites. And it's the same with all the other creatures, because you only have, like, the one there, yet you've got, like, several thousand. But after you reach, I think it's usually about the 10k mark, they add like another model in, which is kind of cool. I'm not sure if I actually use a Seed of Mutation on that. Do I actually use it? Or do I leave it? Nah, it seems I leave it. But I love how smoothly the game actually plays as well, and how like interesting things could get. And there we go. The Colonia has came back. I don't think it actually stays around, but... And also that land-based one is back again for the third time, you know, it doesn't... I don't think it's third time lucky either. But you never know, you never know. I mean, that's it out there, and I think we actually... Do we use rain clouds on it? I'm not entirely sure. No, I didn't think so. But we just let time pass a little bit more. We are in the millionth year. Things start going up a little bit. Of course, that Clonia Petrus has died out again. What can you do? As you can see, the Amphicomedusa don't even know if I'm saying that right, really starts to flourish, because we're already at 11k, kind of goes up a wee bit and down a wee bit, but it does start to flourish quite a lot. And it's really, really cool because I think we end up seeing... Is there more than one in there yet? No, but there will be. There's a lot of freaking items that start spawning though. So if you leave the world for a while and just like come back in, it's like, here, have 20 different items. There we go. And grabbing these, because I think a lot of these are seeds of mutations actually, if I mind right. Or normal recovery, at least that works too. So if you're playing this game, I highly recommend, you know, a big seabed area, because that does increase your temperature. As you saw, we started at the beginning in the first episode, we'd use a lot of sort of the valley sources, which are definitely something you probably want to do, or just essentially giving yourself a lot of shallows, because obviously some people might not like the way the valley source kind of works. It just automatically, you know, drops everything down. But it's a good way to get a sort of a initial footing in the door, and well, it allows you to obviously affect the temperature on a massive scale quite quickly. Now I think here I'm wondering like what to actually do with the seabed. Like, should we do this? Should we do that? And we end up going over this way because we don't care. There we go. So into there. I think we start to affect this area though, because I know it's actually this bit I think we actually take down slightly to kind of just have a sort of small like area that's, because there is things that are going to, how should I say, like obviously you've got that like -2, -3 sort of thing. There is things that do grow and flourish in different levels of that. So it might be there's deep sea, but there's deep sea -1, 2, 3, 4 sort of thing, and things do get affected by that. It's the same with the lowlands and everything, and the highlands. When you start to create more land things do get affected by that. Also, the normal leaf actually I think recovers like 1000 HP, which we're not even remotely near. I do like the fact though that some people, with the way things can actually work, is if you've played the game for a while, you can actually carry over your avatar with all its levels and everything like that, and obviously you could create some pretty insane worlds once you've had a pretty leveled up avatar. I also noticed this, which confuses me, because I'm like, right, how did this happen, and how did I get more? Because I think I kind of come out of the game a bit to try and see if it does grow out. Unfortunately, it doesn't, which is a little bit of a shame, because that is, having the moisture and everything like that would be the perfect thing, but as you see, disappears immediately pretty much. So that is one thing that I'll be working on in the next episode for things though, which will be good. But we are sort of slowly and surely, but very quickly, coming to a close in this episode. We kind of like just, the next thing I want to do for this series is to definitely try and push to getting land stuff. That's going to be a big focus of episode 3 and 4 going forward, because we've done a lot of sea stuff. It's actually a hell of a lot of sea stuff, and we get a lot of items as well. And as you can see, down in the bottom right there, you've got a couple of wee red dots there. It's because the Cyclor, whatever they were called again. That's the wrong bit. I've started, like, obviously they've got more there, so they've got more than one model in there. I do like that, because obviously it means if you had like 200,000 things on the screen, it probably would crash at most PCs. You notice their temperature is rising more and more, and that's just because there is more sea just in the game, or in our world. It's something we're going to focus on, because obviously if we start to do stuff to the land, it will lower the temperature. We have to make sure we don't kill off our entire food chain in the water though. So it is a very fine balance you're doing. But I do like how much sort of educational you kind of can get out of this, and also how just downright fun it is, because it's crazy to see a world that you cultivate and put in the world things. And we also have a global cooling item, but it's kind of cool because you could cause an ice age if you want and see what it does to your entire world, because I'd probably save that before done something like that though. If I was to use like a global cooling or global warming sort of thing, I would actually probably save it and then, you know, let it play out for like maybe 10 minutes for the video, so you guys see what overall the massive change on it. But essentially that is like that for now, guys. We end up we try and see what we can do is to land a little bit more. But that is something I'll be doing in the next episode for you guys. So thank you so very much for watching this episode though, and I hope you don't mind the post-coms because it was giving me a time to kind of talk a little bit more of what I'm doing. See you all next time.